to Getting Your Money's Worth, the show that focuses on value. I'm Judith West, and our guest today is Caroline Dowd-Higgins, Director of Career Development at Indiana State University. Okay, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Judith. Glad to be with you.
Yeah. And Caroline, among other things we're going to talk about, is the book that you've recently written. This is not the career I ordered.
That's right.
I'm afraid, Caroline, that there are lots of us that are feeling the same way these days.
That's very true.
Right. I mean, this title could not have been more to the point. Okay, this is not the career I ordered. What did you mean by that?
Well,
let's go right to it. What do you mean by that?
I have experienced a very dramatic career reinvention myself, and it was a career that I was very passionate about for a long time, that worked very purposefully toward that career. I worked very purposefully toward that career, and it wasn't exactly as I had thought. Best laid plans, right?
Okay, let's stop right there, because after all, your background did formulate your present career, correct?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So give us a little succinct version of what went on.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Well, I'm an opera singer, and you never stop being an opera singer, but I will tell you that I trained and studied for many years, earned an undergraduate and a master's degree in music, did all the right things, had some wonderful successes performing internationally as well as in this country, and realized that the feast or famine artistic existence wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I valued to the title of this show. Right. So it really helped me reevaluate and understand that even though I was passionate about music and still remain passionate, I wanted to move my career in a different direction.
So you wanted some stability.
I did. I wanted security. I wanted a regular paycheck. I wanted variety and stimulation and excitement, which I was getting in the performance world, but I wanted to make some money. And I finally realized that it was okay to say that.
Yeah, you know something? It's funny that you said you finally realized it was okay to say that. What took you so long?
Well, you know, I'd assumed the role of the starving artist, and I had started to believe my own story of you must suffer for your art. And I really believe so many years later, you don't have to suffer. You know, life's too short. You should be happy.
Do you think that it took you a while to speak up, that you finally could say, hey, I want our money because you're a woman?
Yes, and I also believe a lot of it was self-imposed guilt. And I finally realized it's okay to say, I'm not going to do this anymore for my livelihood. I'm going to use my skills and work in a different direction.
Can I jump? In fact, as a matter of fact, you talk about some empowering strategies for women. So can I just make a little segue to say that it seems to be hard for women to say, I want to make money. Why is it?
I think that's true.
Is that the female DNA?
Well,
you're the psychologist here.
I think it's a cultural DNA, and I think that's one of the problems. And I'm really on a mission to empower women to understand they need to own what they value. Some people value money, some people value other things. Whatever we choose to value is important and sacred to us, and we shouldn't be impacted by what the culture says and what our society says.
I sell for a living. I mean, I do this too, but I sell for a living. And I remember talking to somebody when I went into sales. I taught, I was a psychologist, I did a lot of things. He said, I don't want you to ever forget, when you're after you introduce yourself and you talk a little bit, he says, don't leave without asking for an order.
Exactly.
You'd be amazed at how many people talk, say thank you very much, and never say, may I have an order, please? And that's kind of with women. Women have a way when they want to talk about getting a promotion or getting more money, they sort of say it in a unsure fashion.
Exactly.
I was wondering if maybe, or something like that.
Right, absolutely. We start with a question mark. And I think the reality is we need to be empowered, we need to own our strengths, we need to own our self-confidence. I do a lot of coaching with women nationally in organizations and one-on-one. And I tell them, it's okay to be ambitious, it's okay to be strong, it's okay to be powerful. Men have been doing it for generations. Let's watch them, let's learn from them, and own what we do well.
What do you tell women? I don't want to focus only on that. We have, thank God, a lot of male viewers.
Yes.
But what do you tell women when the very traits like ambition and self-assuredness and maybe even a little aggression has been very beneficial to men, but somehow seems to take on a negative connotation when women exhibit those same traits.
Right. Well, I tell them that there's a balance and they need to own that and wear those strengths and those competencies if it's natural to them. I don't want them to put on a facade and try to become someone whom they're not.
Right.
But if that passion and that energy, which can also be described as ambition, is true and authentic for them, then wear it proudly and practice it. Just to your sales pitch, if you don't say it out loud, it's very difficult to own that on a regular basis.
Right.
So we owe it to each other to practice and to be able to say that out loud.
Exactly. And also, maybe you do have to say it a little softer.
Yeah, I think.
Or maybe you do have to say it with a little bit more of a smile, but you don't have to be unsure about saying it.
What I would tell any woman and any man is say it authentically. Say it comfortably in your own voice. Don't assume the role of someone else. This is not the time for the Academy Award acting, right? This is the time for you to define your own genuine persona. And once you find your own voice, that's exciting. And that's what exudes humble confidence, right? That's one of my favorite phrases, humble confidence.
But you know, let's face it, Caroline, we don't want to get off on a track here. The fact is that a very small percentage of corner offices in Fortune 500 companies are occupied by women.
It's true.
Even in the 21st century.
I agree, and I'm on a mission to change that.
Is that what this is? Not the career?
Well, that's one
I see
step.
you have empowerment strategies from women who recharged, reignited, and reinvented. So let's go slow.
Sure.
I mean, those words, recharged, reignited, and reinvented, are in red. Recharged. What does that mean?
Well, let me tell you that not every woman wants a complete career makeover, not a complete shift. Perhaps they just want to recharge the existing career that they have, make it more interesting, play to their strengths more, be excited about coming to work every day.
So how do you do that, Caroline?
Part of it is a self-reflection. You know, what is it that makes me think, oh, it's Sunday night, I don't want to go to work on Monday morning? What is it about my job that doesn't make me enthusiastic anymore?
Boring?
Could be that you're not playing to your strengths, that you're not in the right role in your organization. And I find that so many men and women are in the right organization, they're just not in the right role.
So what do you? So forget what gender you are. What do you do about that?
Well, it starts with the self-reflection piece, so you can figure out what makes me tick. What do I do really well? Okay. And I would always tell people, one of my first bits of homework is ask your people. Look to your circle of trust and say, what do you believe that I do really well? And then have that conversation with yourself.
Is that something that you can do in this kind of very poor job market, Caroline?
You should always do it, because I think you always need to be at the ready. I mean, the reality is this is a tough job economy, and the dream job might not happen immediately. There may be a delay because of the reality of the economy and the reality of the tough job market that we're facing. But we have to have a plan. We have to be ready.
So you don't have to act on it, but you ought to have something to act on when the moment comes.
Exactly, because I really believe that we can design our career destiny. It shouldn't happen by default.
Okay, well, we agree there. Okay, so now you're recharged. How do you reignite your recharge? Do you wait for the moment to come?
No, again, you're constantly looking. I believe that you need to have a 5-year plan. Even if you're in your dream job, you need to have an exit strategy, because you need to be in the driver's seat. You don't want to fall victim to the next downsizing, to the next layoff. Quite often that's an economic decision. It has nothing to do with your performance.
Okay.
So you need to be in control and constantly massaging your network, constantly being out there so people see what you do well.
So you have to maintain that network. You have to keep talking to people. Even though, I have to tell you, Caroline, maintaining a network is a lot of work.
I couldn't agree more.
I mean, it's almost a career to itself.
I agree, but it's an investment in your long-term career future.
So you should be happy you have let's just make this job. Happy you have a job in this market. Keep your eyes and ears open and lay some groundwork, lay a little foundation for when things do turn around, or when, God forbid, you lose your job.
Well, and just practically speaking, quite often...
the next promotion.
Absolutely.
No, people don't stay with the companies that they start with so long these days.
It's true.
It used to be called career hopping.
Right.
Now there's almost a value in career hopping.
There is, and I just wrote an article about that, so it's an interesting segue. They're called career zigzaggers, and this isn't actually a new industry term. So the career zigzaggers entrepreneurs are consciously moving from organization to organization every few years. Deliberately, and I'll tell you why. They bring new and fresh ideas into an organization. They're very flexible, they're very adaptable, and they can go in and re-energize an organization.
And that's also a very good way to get a nice jump in salary.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so we have recharge, reinvent.
Well, the reinvent is
kind of the same thing, right?
No, it's different because when you're reinventing, that's a career change, right? That's a dramatic shift.
That's going from an opera singer to a career developer.
Exactly, right. So that's a wholesale shift, an entirely different career. And what I'm hearing, and I interviewed hundreds of women around the world, and many of them have said, I'm burned out, I'm tired, or I'm bored, or I'm frustrated, or they've been let go, right? And this is a perfect new opportunity for them to look for their passion.
But Karen, I've been reading a lot, and there are women, men too for that matter, that leave powerful financial industry jobs, careers, people that went to top Ivy League schools to open a bakery, to make cupcakes. I read about a woman just the other day, Wednesday's Times, that packs picnic lunches with all kinds of goodies, and then after that, she's going to do gift boxes. And I'm thinking, oh my God, you got an MBA at Wharton to pack picnic baskets?
Well, but Judith, let me share with you, the entrepreneurial age is alive and well, and this is a great time for people who are reinventing. They might leave that corporate entity because their values aren't being met, because they're not in control of the hours that they work, or the type of work that they're doing, or the environment that they're working in. When you're an entrepreneur, you're working a lot of hours, and quite often even more than that corporate environment, but you're in control. And a lot of people really value that. They really appreciate that.
Yeah, I suppose too. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time in the corporate world.
Sure.
And you get very used to being your own boss.
You do.
And it's hard. It's hard to go back to not being your own boss.
Yeah. And you're driving the car. You are responsible. You are accountable for everything.
Yeah. We have 1 minute left for This Is Not the Career I Ordered. And tell me something. You're a director of career at a university. What is the biggest tip you give what's the best tip you give to your graduates as they're exiting in this market?
The number one tip is don't be tempted to stay behind your computer and just apply for jobs online. Get out there, be seen and heard, because people hire who they know and who they trust. If they can put a name to a face and see that you are an articulate and talented and well-spoken individual, then...
I mean, it's a pleasure to hear somebody say, go out and be seen.
Yes.
Because the truth of it is, you could have a stack this high on your desk of resumes. A person whose opinion you value calls it, hey, could you see my friend's blah, 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 and you say right away, for sure, and that person goes up the ladder immediately because somebody else that you know recommended them.
You're spot on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks for being on the show. This may not be the career you ordered, but you obviously enjoy it. And
I'm thriving now.
And I know it's
Absolutely.
thriving. So thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you.
I'm Judith West. You're watching Getting Your Money's Worth. Thank you for watching.